At this time, I'd like to reconvene the regular board meeting. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Hall.
Present.
Solis.
Present.
Segura.
Here.
Pike.
Here.
Tarantino.
Here.
Janney.
Here.
Let's now have a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. Mr. Glover, would you mind doing the pledge of allegiance for us?
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. The board met in closed session preceding this meeting to discuss the following issues: student expulsion, suspension, expulsion, reinstatement, education code 48916, 48918, students identified by ID numbers. Number 2, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, reclassification, reassignment, transfer, government code section 54957, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision D of government code section 54956.9. Item number 4, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 of subdivision D of government code section 54956.9. Item number 5, conference with labor negotiator, government code section 54957.6. The board took the following action. Moved by Solis, seconded by Pike, to accept the administrative panel's hearing recommendation to approve the expulsion of one student with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura abstain, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Tarantino, seconded by Solis, to accept the administrative hearings panel recommendation to approve the reinstatement of one student with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, absent, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Tarantino, seconded by Hall, to approve the settlement agreement in the OAH case 20181012227 with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for February 11, 2019 regular board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Oh, so moved.
A second.
Hall.
Yes.
Solis.
Yes.
Segura.
Yes.
Pike.
Yes.
Tarantino.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, the board is pleased to recognize a special education teacher who's played a vital role in the district's being designated a unified champion school district. In 2016, she began organizing exhibitions to introduce unified sports to school sites. That year, there was a unified basketball exhibition at 5 schools. The next year, almost every high school had events in basketball and track and field. Last school year, every high school and 5 middle schools participated in the multiple unified first, one in Southern California. Unified sports continues to grow, and we would like to honor and thank Mrs. Valerie Ruiz. Valerie Ruiz, for her leadership and dedication to all athletes and to the special ed program.
I was his mentor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Janney would like to say something.
Sure.
Hi, Dr. Janney.
No. Please stay there, Valerie. Thank you. Thank you. So what other people in the audience and people who don't know need to also understand is last week was the National Special Olympics Conference here in San Diego. And I don't know if they brought it to San Diego because of what we're doing in Sweetwater, but we were a major part of their conference. And so on Wednesday, about 500?
600.
Okay, who's counting? 600 participants from the conference and other people who drove down from areas in California to see what Sweetwater is doing with the Unified Games. We are the first Unified Champions School District, first one in Southern California. And every great deed starts with an idea. And she didn't know we asked her to come for this reason tonight, because she's a very humble but passionate educator. We wanted her to come and share a little bit about the Unified Games and also to bring some students to talk about how they've impacted, their involvement has impacted them positively. So in addition, there were several students who attended the conference for those 2 or 3 days when they were in San Diego. So could you just tell a little bit about that, please, Valerie? Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. So last week, it was a Special Olympics Unified Champion Schools Conference here in San Diego. And it was a conference, it was the largest conference since its existence in the last 4 years, with over 525 attendees from across the nation, every province in Canada, and 17 countries. We were able to host all of them, in addition to about 100 Southern California educators, and show them how we were a unified champion school district. At our conference, we started at the school visit at Olympian High School. We started with a panel that had district administrators and myself, and it was moderated by Tim Shriver. So for those of you who don't know, Tim Shriver is the chairman of Special Olympics. His mother, Eunice Shriver, started Special Olympics over 50 years ago, and is the sister of John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. So that was a pretty big deal. And then after that, the attendees went out to the football field, where 10 schools, 5 middle schools, 5 high schools represented and showed how they were inclusive, whether it was through their clubs, whether it was through sports, whether it was through fundraising. So we were able to host 300 kids on the football field to show them all of that. After that, we had the Battle of the O's basketball game, which is a rivalry between Olympian High School and Otay Ranch. And the gym was packed. ESPN was present. Local news was present. And we were able to show them. I have only received positive feedback about our district. They were amazed that the superintendent was sitting next to me during all of this. They were amazed that I was able to get 10 district administrators present at this conference. And to me, that's quite surprising. I heard Mr. Tarantino was there. I didn't get to see you, sir. Hi. But, you know, there's 2 things I just want to share before I turn over the mic. We are one of the only unified school districts in the nation. Very few of them are unified. And I think what I tell people, it's because of 2 reasons. One is the relationships you build. I look around this room and I see lots of relationships I've built with lots of people, and good relationships. I think that Dr. Janney has been a great example of that. She was my second principal. I mean, you could even, my daughter, I won't let her talk about this, but she's known my daughter since she was born. My daughter just sees Dr. Janney as Miss Karen. When I moved into this building at the beginning of the school year, she went over to her office, and I was like, you can't bother her. She's busy. And she was like, but that's Miss Karen. And, right, these relationships that I'm able to build help me go through all the schools and make them unified champion schools. Second, when many people this week and every year always ask me, how do you become a unified champion school or district? And I tell them, you have to start from the top. I'm here in front of the board being recognized for this. Dr. Janney supports me. Joe Hines supports me. It's everyone in the district who has said yes to anything I've asked for, because as a district, we believe in being inclusive. And I've heard Sesha Haynes over here. She talked to some people and she said, why wouldn't your district want to do this? I don't understand how you can't get a meeting with the superintendent. And so me being recognized, I want to make sure I say thank you to all of you in this room for supporting unified sports and us being one of the most inclusive districts in the country. So yay. So I have a part of it was a part of the conference as well. There were unified pairs, so that's a student with disabilities and a student without disabilities who've come across the nation, about 15 pairs, and including our 3 pairs that I have here. They went through a 3-day training about youth leadership and how to be able to go back to their schools and train students about how to be inclusive youth leaders. So in March, they're going to host their own little conference with all our high schools. So they're going to be, they don't know that yet, but I'm going to not look behind. So I told them that they could share one thing that they learned from the conference, and then we'll turn back over. Okay, so we'll start. So say your name and what school you come from.
My name is Michael. I go Sweetwater.
Thanks, Michael.
The one thing I learned, I make new friends.
Nice. Very good.
Hi, I'm Isai. I'm a junior at Sweetwater High School. And one thing I learned was that inclusion is like one of the best things you can learn. And because just seeing someone smile like could make you happy as well as that other person.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rob, and I'm a senior at Eastlake High School. And one thing I learned was to teach people how to use Instagram.
Hi, I'm Brianna Sapara, and I'm a junior at Eastlake High. And one thing I learned is to become a better leader and help others to have a better attitude about unified sports, because some are like, oh, I don't want to play it. But it's a good way to express feelings and just have a good mindset about just have everyone, as Isai said, have everyone to smile, because it just warms your heart when you see other people smiling and other people, because like in unified sports, like not everyone plays sports, because for example, I play volleyball, and I want unified volleyball to be a part. Hint, hint. Okay, unified volleyball. Yeah, and the conference just made everyone happy. Just good positive vibes for my mom, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Christian Venegas. I'm from Casa Park. I'm a senior. The one thing I learned is how to be a leader, show kindness and examples to I say.
That's okay. That's good. Thank you.
So we thank you. Actually, we need everyone to come up because I have one more thing to share. And that afternoon or that morning, Dr. Shriver presented the district with a plaque from the Special Olympics. It says it's the Special Olympics Unified Champion Schools in grateful appreciation of Sweetwater Union High School District for sharing your inclusive community with the 2019 Special Olympics Unified Champion Schools National Conference. And we'll be putting this up in our boardroom, but we'd like the board members to take a picture with our students and Miss Val.
Okay.
She got one herself. She got her own. All right, let's see. Yep, everybody's good. Here on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Semester. Thank you, Ms. Reed, and all the students. Thank you very much.
Mr. Pike, may I say something?
You may.
Before everyone leaves, I would like to thank everyone who was involved in that event. And I was in the stands while the panel was going on, and I can tell you that the group captivated those 500 individuals. They absolutely did. And I listened to the conversation as they were walking down the steps, and they were just pumped. And you gave them the roadmap on how to do it, and that was so cool because they left with confidence, and the look on their face was just overwhelming. And I want to say that I was surprised to see that there's unified CrossFit now. Yes, how cool is that? I wonder if I could qualify for that because I could use some of that training. May 11th? Okay, all right, deal. But I just wanted to thank you all. And I had the opportunity, Rob, he met with a small group. It was the East Lake High cheerleaders, and I was there. And he gave his introduction and speech to all of us, and it was very well done, Rob. Congratulations. I knew you'd want that shout out. Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's all. We may have to meet. But thank you. That's all I have to say.
Okay, we will now have an update from our superintendent, Dr. Janning.
Thank you, President Pike. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. There are literally thousands of activities that happen throughout the year at all of our school sites. Unified Games is just one of them. And in addition to these site events, we also host district-wide events that expand that site experience. So that would be one example. So some are co-curricular, and those are activities that support the academics or the curriculum specifically. And others are extracurricular, those activities that extend beyond the core curriculum. But they're also activities that help connect our students to their overall educational experience. And all of these activities involve a staff member's time, their expertise, their passion, and their dedication to support students' personal and academic success. So let me share a few of our recent student and staff achievements. Most recently, just last week, our Sweetwater STEM Research Science Fair, formerly known as our Science Fair, was hosted at Otay Ranch High School. There were approximately 210, or maybe exactly 210 students who participated, 165 middle school and 55 high school students. And there were 167 projects that were submitted. 124 from the junior division, which is the middle school, and 43 senior division. And this year they could team up with a partner if they wanted. Again, this couldn't happen without our middle school and high school teachers from Bonita, Castle Park, Bonita Middle, Castle Park Middle, Chula Middle, East Lake Middle, Montgomery Middle, National City Middle, Rancho Del Rey, Southwest Middle. And then the 4 high schools are Bonita, East Lake, Olympian, and Sweetwater. I just want to share with you the Sweepstakes winners in the junior division. In the life sciences, it's Samantha Noriega from Chula Vista Middle, and her teacher is Tina Tom. And the physical sciences Sweepstakes winner is Eric Guizar from Chula Vista Middle, also teacher Gina Secloso-Carroll. The Sweepstakes winners from the senior division for life sciences is Mary Jasmine Lara from Olympian High School. Her teacher is Michael Tony Claudio. And the physical sciences Sweepstakes winner is Isaac Browdy from Bonita Vista High, and his teacher is Michelle Mardal Doomsnell. The top 3 places in all categories move on to the 2019 Greater San Diego Science and Engineering Fair. That happens a little later, for sure. But all the other projects are encouraged to enter as well. And so thanks to all the students and staff, some of whom are in the audience, I see, for a job well done. I also want to announce that the 2nd annual Sweetwater Underwater, which is the Sea Perch robotics competition, is being scheduled for March 16th at the Mar Vista High Pool. Last year was our inaugural competition, and it's going to be the 2nd annual this year. The 3rd annual UAS Drone Challenge is coming in May, and that location is still to be determined. Last couple of years, it was at Sweetwater. I'm not sure where it's going to be this year. Just want to remind everybody that the VEX Robotics State Championships for both middle school and high school is happening at Montgomery High School on March 2nd and 9th. Those are Saturdays. And South Bay STEM in Your Backyard, that's the name of an event, is again hosted by Castle Park High under the direction or leadership of teacher Robert Monroe. And that's happening on March 8th at Castle Park High School. That's done during the school day. And we bus students over there for that event. I also want to say congratulations to Kelly Leone, a teacher at Bonita Vista High School, for being selected as the California Council for Social Studies Outstanding Teacher of the Year. The California, I'm going to say that again, the California Council for Social Studies Outstanding Teacher of the Year. We also want to congratulate Mariana Hughes from Eastlake High for being selected as the California Association of Teachers of English, their award for classroom excellence. So those are two outstanding teachers in our district. Yeah, absolutely. For those of you who follow, we're heading into CIF playoffs for winter sports. We want to wish the best of luck to the following schools for boys basketball. Here's who's in the CIF playoffs. Almost all of them. Montgomery, Olympian, Otay Ranch, Bonita, San Ysidro, Sweetwater, Hilltop, and Mar Vista. They're all in the boys CIF finals. In the girls basketball finals, Bonita, Olympian, Eastlake, Otay Ranch, Montgomery, Chula, Hilltop, Castle Park, and San Ysidro. For girls soccer, Eastlake, Bonita, Olympian. It's important to name all these schools, so bear with me. Eastlake, Bonita, Olympian, Chula Vista, Montgomery, Hilltop. And in boys soccer, Eastlake, Southwest, San Ysidro, Bonita, Otay Ranch, Chula Vista, and Hilltop. In girls water polo, Mar Vista High and Eastlake High. Now, some of the CIF finals have already occurred. And specifically in girls wrestling, CIF has already happened. And so congratulations to the following winners in their weight class who now advance to the state finals. So we have enough female students participating that we have a girls wrestling league, right? And it's CIF sponsored. And so in the past, anyway, we have a league. And all of these students placed either first, second, or third to move on to the state finals. There's a first place from a student at Olympian High School, Yesenia Marin de Geyer. A second place, and these are all in different weight classes, and so if you really want to look at it, there was an article that came out either in the Star News or it was it's on the CIF website. A second place for Anna Mercado from Eastlake High School. Another second place from Eastlake High, different weight class for Brooke Klomp. A second place for a Hilltop High student, Nadia Barrientos. A second place for a Montgomery High School student, Yasmin Ballesteros, and another Montgomery student, Leilani Pompa. A second place for an Otay Ranch student, Aileen Salas. A third place from Mar Vista High, Anya Rodriguez. Third place for San Ysidro High, Sandy Luevano. Another third place for San Ysidro High, different weight class, Alexa Rosales. And a third place, a different weight class for Desiree Ferguson from San Ysidro High School. So they're already on their way to state finals. So that's pretty amazing. Yeah, you can clap for them. Good job. Thank you, Colleen. In addition, each school typically hosts several VAPA, which means Visual and Performing Arts, performances each year. In addition to site performances, we host district-wide events like the district play that happens every summer, the band pageant that happens in November, the holiday sing happens in December, and this past weekend at Chula Vista High, they hosted a district honor concert band and honor symphonic band concert. So 115 musicians from across the district come together under the direction of 2 university guest conductors. This year, the concert honor band practiced with San Diego State University professor and director of their band, their wind bands, Dr. Shannon Keitlinger, while the symphonic honor band practiced with UCLA professor and wind ensemble conductor Travis J. Cross. And I was able to attend, and it's pretty amazing that these students spend approximately 12 hours learning and perfecting 4 complex pieces of music. And after those 12 hours of practicing with sometimes their own teachers, but as a new group, these students have never played with each other before. They come together just for these 12 hours and practice and play these complex music pieces. And it's truly, we have some incredibly talented young musicians, as well as talented and dedicated music directors who help make this happen. And I'm going to call them out right now. Amy Cruz from Bonita Middle, Tamara Frazier from Castle Park Middle, James Lamas from Chula Vista Middle, John Academia, Eastlake Middle, Brett McCarty, Granger, Christian Tordal, Hilltop Middle, Danielle Bruce, Rancho Del Rey, Keith Ballard, Southwest Middle, Mark McCann, Bonita High, Richard Kellis, Castle Park High, Patrick Dorr, Chula High, Randy McCrae, Eastlake High, Michael Gray, Hilltop High, Marin Glover, Mar Vista High, or Marin, I can't remember. Gabriela Ordaz, she's at both Montgomery Middle and Montgomery High. Eric Mabry at Olympian. Schaefer Burnett at Otay Ranch. Tony Sacco, San Ysidro. And Alyssa Van Ginkgo for Sioux High. I don't know if you ever get a chance to go to these concerts, but I totally would recommend it. I want to give you a quick budget update. Our Board of Trustees met for their second workshop on February 4th to continue to clarify their priorities and provide direction as we develop the 1920 budget, district budget. The finance team continues to focus on position control in collaboration with HR, payroll, district departments, and school sites. And the district leadership team and 2 board members met with all labor partners a week and a half ago to answer questions related to the current year budget as well as the upcoming 2019-20 budget. Just so that everyone knows, the entire Sweetwater staff, we are committed to collaborating and working together to find equitable budget solutions for the out year, for 1920. And then finally tonight, I just want to briefly mention the topic of resilience. Over 100 years ago, the great African-American educator Booker T. Washington spoke about resilience. Here's what he said. I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by the position one has reached in life as by the obstacles overcome while trying to succeed. Resilience is not a genetic trait. It is derived from the ways that students learn to think and act when faced with obstacles, large and small. And the road to resilience comes first and foremost from supportive relationships, like Valerie talked about, with parents, with teachers, other caring adults, counselors, speech therapists, nurses, librarians, office staff, classified employees, all caring adults. And these relationships become sources of strength when our students work through stressful situations and painful emotions. When we know that when we assist adolescents and young adults to develop an approach to life that views obstacles as a critical part of success, we help them cultivate resilience. But I also want you to know that it's equally important to cultivate resilience in educators, those who care for our students. Elena Aguilar is an author of a book called The Art of Coaching. That is a book about coaching teachers, right? With instruction. She also just published a book called Onward, Cultivating Emotional Resilience in Educators. And Aguilar says this, resilience is how we weather storms in our lives and rebound after something difficult. She also says the most important thing to know is that we can increase our resilience because it's a set of adaptive behaviors. So why is focusing on resilience so important? Schools and districts are stressful places. We have human beings that attend every single day. And teaching, and everything to do with teaching, is emotional work, and therefore is characteristically stressful. So partly this is the nature of being in a helping profession. Other helping professions also experience stress. And serving young people as part of that a very complex organization, that's part of what we do. In this book, Aguilar says that healthy stress can be okay. It can challenge us and help us develop. But she warns educators, though, that about potential toxic stress that can occur when demands constantly outpace our ability to cope. So in the same way that we want our teachers and educators to focus on developing resilience in our students, we must also make sure we're focusing on increasing staff resilience too. In Sweetwater, we want our staff and community to know that we understand the importance of social and emotional learning needs of both our students and adults. The first step our board took to make this a reality is when they approved us moving forward as a restorative district, where students and staff thrive, not just survive. And so that's just a brief introduction to resilience, and there'll be more information coming forward. Tonight, I would like to close with a video our communications office created for Castle Park High School. If you're not here and you're listening, I'll put a link in my email that goes out to everyone this week. And thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you, Dan.
What's great about being a Castle Park Trojan would be the fact that since we're a smaller school, we're more of a family.
The staff, they actually care about you. You want to go to school because of them. There's no negative energy at all.
If you can be diverse, you won't be judged for being yourself.
Our school has a lot of spirit and our alumni is very supportive.
Coming to Castle Park teaches you a lot about responsibility and how to handle those responsibilities.
I would say I'm the nice friend. I try to be helpful to everybody, trying to be a good friend.
I want to be the best version of me.
I want to be successful. I want to be just like my father. He's a big role model in my family. He promotes responsibility and making sure when things need to get done, they get done.
My parents have taught me to follow my dreams, be whatever you want, just as long as that's what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Each heart and each mind matters.
I really love how we have a strong IB program, everything to help kids get ready for the next level of college.
Biology is one of my favorite subjects. My teacher is Mr. Manro. He explained biology in a way that was interesting to me, and that just made me want to do more in biology and science.
Here's the SAA program. It stands for Science Innovation Academy. You take biotech and human anatomy and a few other courses related to science. Ms. Kimball is a coordinator. As she's doing the classes, she's involving you in field trips and volunteer experiences, community service, a whole immersion to science.
It's important to come to school every day because you can miss out on something that you won't know, and you don't know what is going to help you on later in life.
High school passes by so fast, and you really want to enjoy every single day.
I like to consider myself a leader, strong, independent, building upon what we already know, and that's something that's always interested me.
You have to improve on yourself, and at the end of the day, it's going to come down to how much you really want it. Once a Trojan,
always a Trojan.
Hail the glorious days of Ember.
May the Trojan courage ring.
Never ceasing to remember
how it echoes as we sing. Alma mater, praise with glory.
Lasting years you'll always be, as you tell our wondrous story.
Alma mater, praise to thee.
Thank you, Dr. Janning. I can tell you know how to deal with stress because you correctly pronounced all of those students' names, and that impressed me. Our Brenda, our board representative, is sick today, so hopefully she'll feel better and gets well so she can come to our next meeting. And now, the DLAC committee report. Is the person from DLAC here tonight? No, okay. The board members all received a copy of the DLAC report. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Oh, no questions, but I was glad to read in the report where they had a presentation by Southwestern College on how to partner with them and the successes of students graduating from college that go through Southwestern College or junior college. So I was glad to see that they are interacting with our local community college.
Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. This is the point on the agenda where members of the public may address the board on any matter not on the agenda and have 3 minutes each to do so. The Board of Trustees cannot legally take action or respond to matters not posted on the public agenda, but will refer the matter to the superintendent's office for review and report. Thank you for your cooperation.
Bernardo Vasquez.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent. First of all, I wanted to give a shout out to Ms. Hughes. She was one of the award winners, and she's a fantastic teacher. I've had now my second student in her class. Also wanted to point out that with regards to VAPA, there's a district dance on Thursday, March 14th at Eastlake High School, and it's going to highlight the amazing dance programs that we have in our district, so hopefully a few of you will be able to attend. I wanted to thank Dr. Salkeld. She provided some financial reports on Fund 49. What's kind of ironic is that the reports she provided are reports that we'd helped create and that the district regularly provided until early 2018. I know that I've been coming up here asking that we make those reports part of the regular monthly board meetings. I haven't seen them yet, but Dr. Salkeld, I want to thank you for putting those together. I noticed she sent the email on Sunday, so she was probably working that day. According to the reports, as of February 8th of 2019, the Melrose Fund is owed $47 million. Now, according to her email, there's going to be a property tax payment in April, which is going to help offset that balance. I'd asked whether the district has intended on stopping to borrow from the Melrose Fund, but the response I got from her would indicate that the district is not going to stop borrowing. I guess there's some consideration about some tax revenue anticipation notes to bring forward to the board for consideration, but I'm not seeing that on the agenda, so I'm going to assume, unless I see otherwise, that you're going to continue to borrow. Now, I know that you guys know that that's a problem for the board and for this district. I mean, you've been told on numerous occasions that it's problematic for you, possibly an illegal practice, putting you deeper in debt. So you guys are in a tough position, but in all honesty, you put yourself in this position. So hopefully you'll think long and hard if you continue to borrow on what the consequences are. I just wanted to briefly touch on a story that Voice of San Diego put out this morning. I'm sure all of you have read it. And there's really no other way to put this other than there's irrefutable evidence that fraud and misappropriation and cover-ups are going on in this district. You've got employees now that are talking, employees that are giving information on what was known by the district. And you know, as a community member that went to school here and has had 3 children go through this district, I'm angry and disappointed at all of you that you've let it come to this. I hope you understand the severity of what you've done. I think that Mr. Huntsberry did a great job of documenting the seriousness of this, so I hope that you guys take this serious.
Kathleen Shears.
For months we have listened to and read the responses offered by our board regarding our financial situation. According to Ms. Hall, several districts are in the same boat. We have also been told it was as big of a surprise to the district as it was to we, the taxpaying community. Allegedly, no one knew. Interesting, since we, the community, were being told as far back as August of 2018, there was a major fiscal crisis that would soon become known. The board has yet to explain the 4 months of unbooked payroll. The board has yet to explain the massive deficit, nor has it given the Mellow community the respect of answering the whys of not reimbursing the accounts. Then there were the questionable entries month after month. Yet you sit here and claim transparency. You have failed to give us any answers. I will not ask you to forgive me for bringing this up again. Why did you fail to increase the scopes of all of your audits, including in-house audits? Why was the Moss Adams audit the only credible audit done under your terms, met with angst and rebuttal? How could the financial audit of Prop O be crystal clear? All of this nonsense covered up until you had your bond. Well, you have your bond, maybe. Now it's Maricopa, Maricopa, Maricopa. Based on today's Voice article, you did know. Ms. Hall, a budget analyst, expect us to believe you were the with your alleged expertise, that you failed to see what underlings, no disrespect meant, in the financial department saw. That does not ring true. Trustee Segura, you're a business manager for one of the largest labor groups in the nation. Am I to surmise you failed to dissect the numbers presented at audit subcommittee meetings? And what are the financial analyst attorneys that your labor groups have at their disposal? They didn't know? It is my understanding district labor groups spoke before the county. Their mantra, the district willingly came forward and disclosed the info. With all due respect, what the district did was identify to the county we had a deficit. That's it. No lack of payroll reporting, no reporting of movement of monies. And then we have the letter written by teacher leadership in which they share, I'll cut to the chase, our campaign dollars put 4 of the trustees in office. Once in office, they gave us raises. So now we must stand behind them. Amazingly, it was actually sent out. And more amazing, teacher leadership admitted to it. During the days of the previous board, it was called pay to play. So I guess what we have here is pay to play too.
Gretel Rodriguez.
evening, Board. Thank you for having me here. I'm Greta Rodriguez, speaking as an individual. What I want to address to you tonight is something that's very important that has been affecting Hilltop Middle for a long time. But I'm going to ask you a question, and please entertain the question. There's a point to it. How many of you guys like Disneyland? Do you like Disneyland? Can you raise your hands and show me you like Disneyland? Disneyland? Audience? At Disneyland, there's a VIP pass where you can actually pay to go in front of the line. And you feel good. You go in front of the line, you got your little tag, and you're like, hey, I've worked hard. I can pay it. And corporations want you to feel good. That way you don't feel bad when you're paying the extra $100 for that VIP pass. And you're passing people by, and you're going, ha, I'm getting in the front. That's what Hilltop Flags is at Hilltop Middle. It segregates students. We had our very own Fulcher write a report, send it out to the whole staff, stating it was segregated, then was directed by the superintendent to change it and send another report out. And embarrass him by saying that it was a draft. That man's a professional. He doesn't send drafts out. In the report, it says heterogeneous placement. That means English learners, students with disabilities, will be inclusive. Balancing students across all periods, subjects, and teachers. Eliminating segregation of students. Caps on SEI and collaborative classes. I don't know what happened to this report, but it was never implemented. To my understanding, I was told, you push flags, you will get pushback. People will come after you. The board is going to come after you. District personnel is going to come after you. Flags, parents that are part of the process and the program that are sitting in this room will fight me. I'm worried about that because that means the voiceless are not here. That asylum seeker who's in my classroom right now, that parent that's undocumented that's scared to go to the school, parents that are not educated like my parents, who basically father dropped, left me at 2, mother kicked me out at 12. I would be that kid that wouldn't be accessible to this program. I remember asking a teacher, can I test for GATE? And she told me, you people usually don't test well. That's the kind of system of classism that we have now. We have classism at Hilltop Middle. We've had people say that they brought material to the superintendent. I've been diplomatic. I've met with Zoomstein. I've met with Vern Moore. I've met with the superintendent. Superintendent said we should have a lottery system. I don't even know why they're applying. There should just be a checkoff sheet. And right now, they did interviews. This is not an equitable system. You are her boss. Please ask the questions. This program should not exist the way it's functioning right now.
Thank you.
Kent Sargent.
Good evening. My name is Ken Sargent, and I'm speaking as an individual. Right now, I'm a teacher at Hilltop Middle. 2 years ago, I taught in the FLAGS program, taking the position to try and implement some positive change into the program to make it more inclusive. Unfortunately, this did not happen, and I removed myself as a teacher in the program. Now, having witnessed inequity firsthand as a teacher in the FLAGS program, I wanted to continue my fight in making the program more inclusive. Last year, I went around the school gathering signatures for a petition speaking out against the Flags Booster Club. That's the packet that you have. Teacher support numbered 70%, with at least 4 teachers wanting to sign, but feared retaliation from the program. Because of the petition, I was a victim of intimidation and bullying from a Flags parent, Christina Espinoza, who is also an employee of the Sweetwater District. Christina Espinoza wrote a letter questioning my character and was written in a manner to damage my credibility. She walked on campus before the office was open, entered the staff workroom, and dispersed a letter into each staff member's box with the intent to cause damage to me. As you may know, the FLAGS program interviews prospective students for the FLAGS program. Students sign up for an interview date, and on the date of the interview, the student applicants bring their application packets and are questioned by FLAGS teachers. The teachers type student responses and then give a score based on the answers received. That score is subjective to teacher bias and has led to deflated and inflated scores. I would know. One of the items in the application packet states, I pledge to maintain a 2.0 GPA or higher in both scholarship and citizenship, or I may be removed from the program. An indirect effect of this is that classes not in the FLAGS program receive a higher proportion of students with disruptive behavior. As a result of these behaviors, I and other teachers are feeling more and more mental and emotional stress, as you would say, toxic stress, and are getting burnt out. Classes in the FLAGS program are easier to manage because of the selection process, choosing to accept students with good behaviors. I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Kristen Fatak. You submitted 2 cards, ma'am, but we can only allow you to speak once.
When a public institution erects barriers for certain groups of people and enforces that separation, that's called segregation. As a parent in the district, I was shocked to learn that Sweetwater has not only allowed segregation to be enforced by the FLAGS program at Hilltop Middle School, but that they have funded it to the tune of $13,000 to $30,000 per year, even in the midst of this budget crisis, for only 352 students. Why would they do that? Well, the FLAGS program operates as an elite private school within a public school attended by the children of administrators and teachers throughout the district. This program screens out students deemed unworthy by erecting barriers for admission into the program, including an application process, minimum GPA, student-parent interviews, teacher questionnaires, mandated community service hours, and mandated attendance of parent board meetings. All hurdles easily cleared by the upper socioeconomic class. This is a public school. Imagine being a non-FLAG student at Hilltop Middle School, most likely an ELD student, having to watch as your peers, classified to be your betters by the public school you attend, traipse off on field trips and choreographed dances for the multicultural fair while you are excluded from participating in any of it. If I was a parent of one of these children, I would do anything I could to get my child the type of education experienced and enjoyed by the FLAG students. What's keeping these families in public schools when their public school has segregated them into a 2-tiered system? Charter schools are not attracting students. Sweetwater is pushing them out. The FLAGS program is segregation. This is illegal. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. I respectfully ask the board to make the FLAGS program equitable and accessible to all students for the future of our public education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marco Amaral.
Muy buenas tardes. Good evening. In la que Sharakin, you are my other me, I'm your other you. If I do harm to you, I do harm to myself. I'm a graduate of Mar Vista High School, proud graduate of Mar Vista High School. And in all my resumes, in smaller font, I put Poseidon Academy. And I've reflected on that for many years after graduating in 2009. I was part of one of these privileged programs. I graduated from one of these privileged programs. I have no doubt that what Poseidon Academy gave me was the opening of more doors. Poseidon Academy did allow me to see the world with different eyes. Had trips to Catalina Island, had trips to Julian, got to see the strands of the Milky Way as a high school student. Incredible opportunities that the vast majority of my colleagues never were going to have. And I thought to myself, in all reality, the majority of the kids that went through Poseidon Academy, and I include myself in that list, we were going to make it anyway, regardless of Poseidon Academy or not. Maybe I wouldn't have necessarily gone into UC Berkeley, but there's nothing wrong with me if I would have gone to San Diego State or to UC Riverside or UCSD, wherever that was. And I've continued to reflect, and now as a newly elected board member myself, the role we have in creating equitable spaces. And I truly feel, that during my time as a student at Mar Vista High School, we were segregated. The Poseidon Academy kids, the non-Poseidon Academy kids. And it was very difficult for us to make relationships outside of Poseidon Academy because, like the Flags program, we had a cohort, and we went to the same classes. And there's positive things to that, but the negative aspect of that is that we lose touch with the majority of our colleagues. And I think to myself, that would have been okay with our school district investing proportionally, equitably in all my colleagues, in all my friends, and not just in a privileged group of students, because at the end of the day, it's about all of us making it. It's about creating a public education system for the public, not for a privileged few. And then to say that that privileged few is the reason why we're great. We're great when we all succeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Marinovich.
Good morning, or good morning. Good evening, President Pike, members of the board, Superintendent Janney. I had some prepared remarks, but I want to be as forthright as possible. You know, when I took this job as chair, I said if it ever started becoming like that, a job, maybe it was time to reconsider being chair. So I'm having a reflective few weeks. So I wanted to get some things off my chest. First of all, just a practical matter, we had a clear the air meeting with Dr. Aguirre the other day, and we talked about process, having meetings, talking about maybe meeting not as frequently given the construction is down. So that was a very positive meeting. Secondly, I want to give you a preview of the upcoming CBOC meeting in which I will be attending. And at that meeting, we're going to be going over the Moss Adams audit. And Moss Adams, on their own dime, has agreed to appear before the committee via video. And we will be discussing specifically, there's two projects that are on the radar as far as the chair is concerned, and I hope to convince the rest of the committee. The HVAC project and the Hilltop Athletic project. It was called out in the audit, it was called out in your meeting in December, and we are not going to let go, at least as long as I'm chair, of focusing, drilling down on those projects and make sure we got all the information from staff and from Moss Adams. That's the job of a bond oversight committee, to question things and not let go when something doesn't seem right. The third thing I want to emphasize, and you've done a really poor job at transparency recently. Let me give you two examples. And that person is sitting in the audience over there from the Voice of San Diego. Why does the Bond Oversight Committee have to find out about the scope of work for the FICMAT audit and the SEC letter by the Voice of San Diego link in an article, and not from the district? That is not being transparent, and I hold the district accountable for that. It's just not right. Two final things. Good governance says you put things in writing and you document it. Bad governance says don't put it in writing, just make it verbal. Now, there was a public records request Matty Adoto had. They had nothing in writing, an obvious thing that should be documented. Wasn't in writing. That's bad governance. I hope you're not getting advice to say nothing. To put nothing in writing. That is bad governance, and it's going to bite you in the rear end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stuart Payne.
Good evening, everyone. You know, I've been coming up here for many years, taking my 3 minutes at the mic, and on some nights, even more than 3 minutes. And sometimes I think to myself, Stuart, you're going to need that 3 minutes of oxygen when you're laying on your deathbed. because you guys listen, and maybe at least you look like you're listening some of the time, but you take no action on anything. And that is to your detriment and most likely your downfall. Folks from the public come up here and ask valid questions, give you valid information that would help you do the right thing, and you ignore it. Maybe it's because you feel like you don't have to listen. Maybe it's because you feel like you know everything. I'm not sure what the reason is. But if you look at our current crises, some of that could have been avoided if you would just heed the warnings, ask the tough questions, and get the answers and make solid decisions. Most of the times, you don't do that. I had an opportunity to review a document that you guys went over at your budget workshop last week that listed all of the central office staff and their salaries. And oh my God, 66 people in the IT department. And to be honest, the IT department is probably the best functioning department you got, at least in my interactions with them. They're always responsible, they know what they're doing. But 66 people, almost $8 million in salaries and benefits in one department, really? A testing clerk that is $10,000 or $12,000, $15,000 above the national average for testing clerks. A project manager that makes $10,000 or $15,000 more than a project manager at Northrop Grumman. Folks, you got to take a look at these salaries and do something about it. Some of them are way out. You got way too many teachers on special assignment. They should be going back to the school site. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further speakers.
Now we'll go on to the formation and approval of consent items. Clerk of the board, will you please read the items being pulled from the consent agenda?
F3 has been pulled by staff. F4 by the public. F6 is being withdrawn by staff. Oh, okay. G1 by Mr. Tarantino. H2 by the public. K2 by the public. M1 by Mr. Tarantino and the public. And P1 by the public.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, as read.
Second.
Hall?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Tarantino?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. No, because it's withdrawn, they won't be voting on it.
Okay, do you want to get started with F3?
Yes, pulled by staff. This is an opportunity for board members to do board communication or make any requests if they so desire.
Okay. Let's start with the board agenda, board comments. Ms. Hall.
Thank you, President Pike. This past, about a week ago, I attended the Imperial Beach City Council meeting to speak on behalf of the support from the district staff for the renovation of the Imperial Beach Boulevard, which will occur from like 9th Street through to Seacoast Drive, and right in front of the school there's some significant improvements, and I thank them on behalf of the board for their collaboration with our district and inclusion with the principal and staff, Janaea Quirk and Armando Murillo and Dr. Aguirre, through that process. I think it'll be a good, you know, a nice, it'll have a nice impact on the school and on the safety of our students going to and from school, and not only us, but the elementary schools nearby. So I did do that on behalf of the board. I also wanted to say that I've attended some other meetings, but I don't want to talk too much about that. I have a request for items to bring forward at future meetings. One of the things that I would like to speak to, and I want to thank the public comments, but also those that were concerned about the flag programs. I know that we have brought that up at to the superintendent, and I know that they're working on it, but having a keener eye into it would be helpful for this board to understand the impacts and where we're moving with that, so that it is more inclusive. And I also would like to see a report, and this is not something I want to see immediately, because I know right now finance staff is really focused on a lot of things that they must do, so I don't expect it for a few months, but I would like to have an accounting of all the contracts that we have and the subcontracts and the consultant agreements we have with our ACES and assets funding in the 21st, I don't know if that's 21st century funding, if it's state funding, or I can't really recall that, but where those focused, I know we have like a comprehensive one for South Bay, with South Bay Community Services. We have one with the Y, we have, you know, those main ones, but we have a lot of sub agreements now, and I would like to know where the bulk of those agreements and how much we're spending and how many students are attending, so that we can make sure that there's equity in all of that, because right now I'm wondering if there is equity in that program as we serve all our schools and we bring it in these extra agreements and partnerships. It seems like I'm hearing a lot of them are focused in certain areas, and we want to make sure we're serving all areas with the same opportunities. So I'd like to have that. And the other one, I'd like a report on the consultants we use for VAPA, and what are the qualifications of our teachers, and what are the limitations that we have to use so many consultants through that program. So I kind of want to get an understanding of that. I also would like to say that it's my understanding the county has made a recommendation, or has accepted a recommendation to have the district move to the PeopleSoft financial system. I would like to hear from the person making that recommendation and from the IT department at the county why they're making that recommendation, because I don't think it's the best solution for our district. I think it would be a waste of money and effort. And in trying to make good, sound decisions, I want to know the reasoning behind it, because it's clear that we have that system is on its way out. There's challenges with the PeopleSoft system in the fact that we've had other districts join together with us to challenge going into that system, and that effort was successful with a MOU, an agreement, so they didn't have to go out. So if they're isolating, I feel like it would really put us into a system of failure moving forward. It wouldn't move us forward, it would move us backward, and it would present even more challenges to staff. So I want to make sure that that's really where the county is on this, and because we've been prevented, it's my understanding, from moving forward on the N4 contract and moving our district into that module, which is really a more state of from all the analysis done by David Della Casada, the systems required by the different staff who has weighed in on that and the presentations, that was really where we were going. So now we're at a standstill. That's costing us dollars. It's really preventing us from moving into a system, which our audit subcommittee was really focused on, how we can get better systems. We asked for a school services review of all the systems and got that report. It confirmed what we knew, that we had to make those decisions to move forward with a system that would really integrate the processes and provide the information in a timely way. I don't know that, I think the effort it would take to bring PeopleSoft on, I know the challenges of that system, and I don't feel it would be a good decision. So I want to hear if that's truly where we have to go, or if there's a way for us to negotiate that with the county. I think it's important. I think that it's clearly, we may not have a choice in that matter, but I don't think it's what they think it is going to be. I know other districts that have moved into that are still having challenges 2 and 3 years after implementation. So I am very concerned about that. And that's where I stand. I know that there are questions. I have questions about where the county is with all of their efforts to do their audits, which I welcome. I welcome the audits because I think it will do nothing but provide us with clear information on where we stand, where we are going. But I think some of the methods that they've used to disseminate the information on it, we're the last ones to know. And I really feel that that has been intentional on their part. And I hope that we can get an explanation about what those motives are and how we can refine that process so we're not the last ones to know, or we're not finding out from a newspaper what's going on, because that's been the case. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Solis.
Thank you. I too had a question about just an update on the flags program, just to clear things up. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Segura.
Just echoing Mr. Solis and Paula's statement or request on the flags in Poseidon, if their admission policies are aligned with our policies and stuff of that nature.
Okay, thank you. Just a side note, Mr. Tarantino and I have already arranged a meeting for February 20th with the people from the flag program, and we're going to be checking into it as well. So we will definitely bring back an update. And Dr. Carberry, of course. Sorry, didn't mean to leave you out. Okay, so I just want to say that we met with our union reps, Frank and I, and we had a very productive meeting. I think we learned a lot. They definitely told us what they thought and how they felt, and I think that was important for us to hear from them exactly what they want and what, you know, they're looking for explanations and things like that, just like everyone else. So I thought that was very productive, and because of that, I think we're going to have a group of people now that are going to go to Sacramento at dark 30 tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have some positive things come back when we come back from Sacramento. The second thing is that I went to a Hilltop JV basketball game at Castle Park, and I wanted to say that I thought Castle Park's bleachers looked awesome. I know they remodeled them, and they really did. They looked nice. The gym looked nice. The kids were all in happy mood and running around. It was very nice to see. So kudos to the people who put those bleachers in. And then I think that's it. Thanks. Mr. Tarantino.
Thank you, President Pike. I have one request and then a few things to report out. I had been under the impression that there was a state law which prohibited us from keeping transcripts and diplomas from students if they owed fines or had in their possession damaged school property. And thanks to Ms. Facito, it was brought to my attention that that Ed Code does allow us to keep or to retain diplomas and final transcripts for students until restitution is made. And I'm conflicted about this, but anyway, I'd like to know what kinds of communications go out to the parents, and when do those communications go out, in terms of letting them know that if a book is not paid for, or there's a library fine of some kind, or there's some kind of restitution that needs to be made, that their child's diploma will be withheld, and possibly their final transcripts. So, and I know that our policy provides for opportunities for students to quote unquote volunteer their time in order to pay back the restitution, but it's not really a voluntary effort if they want their transcript and diploma. So, like I said, I'm a little conflicted about this, and I was sure that the state passed a law that overruled that, but apparently it's still in ed code. So anyway, something in terms of what kinds of communications go out to parents to let them know that their son or daughter or child is not going to be able to get the things that they need in order to move forward in a post-secondary world. I spent 2 hours at the site of Hawkins II Charter School this morning, and I want to thank Dr. Chavez and her administrative staff for taking the time to show me around. I visited every grade level, a number of classrooms, and I was there for the lunch period and saw how seamless the interaction is with the Southwest Middle School. And I want to commend Dr. Fulcher and Dr. Carberry for the assistance that they've given to Hawkins in terms of, how to navigate our district as well as their own charter requirements. I have to go on record saying that after what I saw today, I have to admit I had some doubts in terms of their ability to transition to 7th grade whenever that time came, whenever they were ready to do that. But after I saw the interaction with the teachers, the time that they spend with the students, I know that part of this is part of the elementary education. The teachers were on the floor with the kids, and they weren't wrestling with them. They were, that was a joke. Sorry. I'll get there. I have 3 more years to make this good. So they were with the students interacting, and the technology that they're using in terms of grades. I believe it's the undergrades, and I don't know what they consider undergrade. I think it's TK to grade 3. They have iPads, and then after grade 3 they have some kind of a notebook. So they have the one-to-one devices. So I was really impressed with what I saw, and I've scheduled another tour sometime in, I believe it's April. In fact, it's tax day. And I'm going to visit Hawking 1 at the site of Castle Park Middle. But I just needed to say that because I've gone on record a number of times saying, well, can they do this? Can they do this? And after seeing what I saw today, I do believe that they can do it. And so again, thank you for the help that you've given them on the way. Last month, I failed to mention and congratulate the Rainbow grads. Again, thanks to everybody who works on alternative education to get these students who, for some reason, and not because of an intellectual inability, but just because maybe they didn't fit in a comprehensive high school, to get them graduated, and to see the parents and the students have the pride of beginning something and ending something and completing that is always very rewarding, and it's a very special event. So everyone who had a part in that, I want to thank for for their dedication to the students and for going over and above to see that they do complete the requirements for graduation. And another opportunity to eat crow, but it tastes like chicken, so I'm not complaining. But at the I believe it was at the last board meeting, I raised the question about consultants, and I wasn't objecting to the consultants, but I was questioning how is that different from maybe someone who's working in our district to provide those same kinds of services. Well, I had the opportunity to go to the Honor Band concert, which was held at Chula Vista High School on Saturday, and I witnessed firsthand what the guest conductor brought to those students. That's kind of an intangible. You don't see it on paper. It's not in black and white. But to see that over a period of 12 hours, this guest conductor, and I don't remember his name, but Dr. Janney mentioned his name. He was from UCLA, and he has composed pieces for the symphony as well. But to see the students respond to this individual and the pride that they had in terms of being able to work with this individual, like I said, it's something that you don't see in black and white, and you have to visit and experience it. But I thought it was amazing, and their performance was outstanding. I'm not a symphony buff, but it was really, really moving. And again, I guess it would be, since everyone knows my athletic prowess, I guess it would be the same thing of having someone like an Adrian Gonzalez come down and work with students who are on the baseball team or something like that. That kind of synergy and that kind of experience, which, again, I think is priceless. I just needed to say that, and that's all. Mr. Pike.
Thank you, Mr. Tarantino. Can we go to F4, please?
Yes, I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
I'd like to commend the district and Ms. Facedo for the succinct analysis of these legislative updates. It's refreshing to pick up an agenda item, read it, and understand it, because Ms. Facedo took the time to provide it in layman's terms. Additionally, Mr. Tarantino, state wording clearly states willful destruction. So my question to you, sir, is how is Sweetwater going to define willful? Thank you.
No further speakers. This is only a report item. There's no action needed.
Okay. Anybody from the board have any questions? Yes, Ms. Hall. Can you turn on your, there you go.
I contacted our rep from CSBA, our Southern District rep, Raquel Marquez Madden, and to check on this, because I was kind of disappointed that a couple of the bills seemed to be dying. But the one on the LCF funding is coming back. It could be coming back, and she'll keep us updated on that, as well as the one for charter school transparency. So, I'm hoping that we can keep up. I was disappointed to see the ethnic studies had been vetoed by the governor, but that doesn't mean we can't implement ethnic studies in our own district and move forward with even pilot programs that would make sense. I think there's probably an expertise level at our district to bring some curriculum, district developed curriculum that would be very viable and useful, and I'd like to say throw the challenge out there, see what staff can recommend. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to G1.
Pulled by Mr. Tarantino.
Thank you, President Pike. Yeah, I had a question about the honorariums. on, under cost and fees of the MOU. It says the NIMSY will provide the Sweetwater Union High School District $3,000 for honorariums to cover expenses related to whatever. The honorarium payments will be made to points of contact when all duties, including return of Texas Instrument loaner equipment, are completed. And I thought that we had worked something out to where the honorariums would not go to individuals, but rather to programs. And I was just questioning if in this MOU it's changed.
Ms. Alvarez?
Good evening. Good evening, board members. Mr. Tarantino, your question is a very good one. In this case, the teachers and staff, the teachers in particular, are not on calendar. And so this is for extra duty during the time of the conference. So there's a coordinator who will receive $1,500 but paid for extra duty by NIMSY. And then there are other leads for the science component. There's a custodial lead and then some additional supports. But they're all funded through NIMSY during non-contractual time.
Thank you.
That's all, President Pike.
Need a motion?
Okay, if we don't have any more questions, we'll make motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Hall?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Tarantino?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, let's try H2.
I have one speaker, Robert Miner.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'd like to just touch on about the TTT program and their connection with DOR with Sweetwater School District. I graduated from Castle Park High School just last year. In high school, I struggled with learning disability. I had a lot of problems growing up as a kid. I didn't learn as well as other people. I had trouble with finances. I was a little poor. And some skills that I gained in some transition classes that I was able to learn in high school, they helped me with resumes, interview skills, and also helped me do my taxes. So how did my connection with DOR and Mr. Lopez, he works with DOR, how did they help me do what I'm doing right now? Well, first off, I am an electrician for Local 569. I just got sworn in a couple months ago. And they helped me get finances for, first off, my work boots, pants, transportation. They gave me a bus pass for monthly so I can be able to go to work. They helped me with dress clothes, interview clothes, dress shoes. They also supplied me with just a whole bunch of different, it's like, say if I would go in for an interview, they would help me on what to say, how to say it, my speaking skills and everything. I just believe that they should be, well, this program should be funded so they can help kids that are like me, so they can be in every school to help that 1 to 2 that are like me that want to succeed in life. So they asked me to come speak because I'm one of their success stories, that I'm doing good. I went through these programs. I didn't go to college. I didn't have very much knowledge of what to do or how to do it. I wanted to become an electrician. I wanted to go into the union, and this program helped me out a lot. I didn't have to worry about no finances, any emotional support or financial support and everything in all those aspects. So these programs like this, I think they should stay implemented. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're doing very well speaking. Trust me.
No further speakers.
I might add on that. So
Yes,
I
go right
remember,
ahead.
I haven't worked with Robert personally, but I have met him at Castle Park High School probably 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago at one of the outreach events, and he really had shown strong drive in trying to get an apprenticeship. You're not in yet, though. You're right. You're still in the process of getting in. So he's working in a sub-classification, and that's sometimes what you got to do is work in a sub-classification, get experience, and then and he's doing it all. He just has strong drive to do what to live his dream, and he has good grades too. This is a really good student. This isn't this is not somebody who struggled in high school, and I'm very glad to see him continue and still want to do what he believes he wants to be an electrician. So that's great. He can make a lot of money, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Segura. Anybody else? Yes.
I just want to say thank you for coming and speaking on behalf of the program, because I know there's a range of students. Their visions for the future may be unsure, and maybe their steps are unknown, which direction to take. And I think your testimony about how this can really empower you, give you the power to make self-determination, to determine where you want to go and follow that through. And I appreciate you telling us that, because that is part of what we're hoping to do for each student, in our district. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. I believe we need a vote. Is that true?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve. Thank you.
Hall?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Tarantino?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, let's go to K2.
I have two speakers. Kathleen Cheers.
I was contacted and told the advocacy you are traveling to Sacramento for, is in conjunction with the reserves issue, and that you'll be meeting with Jack O'Connell of the Capital Advisors Group. Could you clarify the purpose of the meeting? And because several people researched advocacy for tomorrow, February 12th, and couldn't find anything. And I also called Sacramento, still couldn't find anything. If not true, what will you be advocating for? And I'm wondering if the teachers at large are in favor of their union dues being used to provide payment for the Sacramento trip for the union representatives. Thank you.
Emmy Wong.
Hello. When I saw this approval request, I understand that the amount is really immaterial to the scope of our budget crisis, but what hit me was just the idea of where we're in the crisis where just this semester we had to cancel training for the teachers, and then we asked the teachers to take a furlough day, 2 days of furlough days instead. So we're taking away training from our teachers, and yet we're paying for board members to go to Sacramento. That just didn't kind of run, I didn't understand. Also looked up Advocacy Day, and I didn't understand what it was. I don't know if it's a training or what it is, but it just, to me, with the way that things are going on, I just wanted to make sure that our priorities are set, that even at this point, every dollar counts. I mean, a couple $100, that could mean you guys flying to Sacramento, or it could be after-school tutoring at a school site, because we could pay for some of the teachers to be there for the kids, which serves a lot more. So I just wanted to make, just let you guys know, please keep that in mind, and every dollar really counts at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further speakers.
Okay. Any comments from the board? No. Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Hall?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Tarantino?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
M1.
I have one speaker. Kathleen Cheers.
So I just had a question on page 1 of 1. It states here that the contractor is going to be paying for this. So why is it on here? I am on the right thing, correct?
Dr. Aguirre, would you like to answer that question?
Thank you.
If you look at one of the attachments, it's actually that is correct. The contractor agreed to pay for this third-party environmental service. It's in order to amend the order request. So we're amending it so that they could conduct this third-party oversight. But the contractor agreed to make us whole, so this is not going to come out of district funds. They're giving a credit back to us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gary. Any other comments or questions? Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, Mr. Tarantino.
President Pike, I had a question through the chair to Dr. Gary. I noticed that the agenda item also mentions the re-roof of the Hilltop Middle Adaptive Room, and I don't, in all the backup stuff, it just talks Chula Vista Middle, except for the amount that is going to be used for the Hilltop project. So was this on the agenda because it was brought forward both of them together, or what?
Thank you,
Where's
Trustee.
Hilltop Middle?
Thank you, Trustee
Where's
Tarantino. The reason
reason
it included the language around Hilltop Middle is the original order was for both, but the actual work in this instance was specific to Chula Vista Middle.
Thank you. That's what I kind of figured, but I wanted to make sure. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Hall?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Tarantino?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
P1.
I have two speakers. Kathleen Cheers.
So I called Dr. Alvarez today. I know she's not a doctor yet, but I want her to get used to the doctor title. And I asked her to explain item P3 to me, which she took a lot of time in doing, and I do appreciate that. And I did advise her I was going to be bringing P1 up, even though we had spoken about it. If you turn to P1, the current policy working draft, the first page, number 1, if you go to the end of the sentence, the word parents is crossed out. Why? And if this was a federal request, I just want that on audio. Thank you very much.
Juanita McCoy.
Good evening. I also noticed that, and as a parent that recently had to go to their daughter's school to discuss classes, I feel that I know my children best. I know what's going on. I see them do it with the homework, the classes, the teachers. So for you to take parent out, what is that saying, that we don't matter? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I didn't use all my 3 minutes, so I'm back here for another little statement.
Okay. Put her on the clock. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It did not go unnoticed that my question regarding that trip was not answered. I just want to say that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No further speakers.
Ms. Alvarez, would you like to elaborate?
Sure. Good evening again, and that is a very good question. I went back and reviewed the document. So the way that the document is listed, if you look at number 1, it says staff recommendation, including but not limited to the recommendations of teachers and counselors. So it's staff members making the recommendation. So that's why parents were eliminated on that section. If you go further down the page, right under number 6, where it says the principal or designee may accept from parents and guardians any information which would be helpful in the decision making for placement. So we do believe that the information provided by the parents is crucial, collaborative, and it should be as such when we make those decisions about where students go. However, in the first reference, it's specifically referencing staff recommendations, and that's why that parent line was moved from there. Does that make sense? I'm Colombian, so it may take me a little bit of time too. So. But that's the reason why.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. Anybody have any other further questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Hall?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Tarantino?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. That concludes our meeting. Thank you very much for coming, and have a good night.